When asked what occasion the university was celebrating, because members of the USA Little Theater were busy mounting a play, Reverend Father Eduardo Perez, OSA, said, "Theater is the occasion." The USA Little Theater, or USALT, is the resident theater company of the University of San Agustin in Iloilo City, Philippines. Former university rector, Reverend Father Eduardo Perez, OSA, established USALT in 1965 with 9 plays in its inaugural year. The company had committees in production, research, talent, and finance, headed by faculty members of the university. The group had the following aims: to help the students appreciate English language and literature, to tap the dramatic talents of the students for cultural production, and to foster camaraderie among students. Many of the productions were classics in English, Filipino, and Hiligaynon. When Father Perez was transferred to Colegio San Agustin, Bacolod in 1970, the supervision of the group was placed under a new director, Rolando Agnas. In subsequent years, he was followed by the following artistic directors: Eddie Asildo, Radicunda Montero, Dennis Batacandolo, Emilio Sedaria, Edward Di Vinagracia, and currently Eric Di Vinagracia, who was appointed in 2010. In recent years, USALT transformed its repertoire, highlighting the culture and realities of the region, Philippine theater and literary forms and motifs, Philippine languages such as Hiligaynon and Kinaraya, thus contributing to raising the awareness of the Filipino audience to the wealth of Philippine theater and culture. The USA Little Theater sees itself as a university theater community that affirms Filipino and Ilonggo identity to promote authentic, human, and societal development. It commits itself to conserve Filipino heritage and innovate dramatic forms through research, instruction, and extension, and forms its members into managers, artists, teachers, and advocates.
Last decades, USA Little Theater devises new plays written and staged by its own members. Underlying the theme are the Augustinian core values of veritas or truth, caritas or charity, and unitas, unity, expressed in themes, plot, character of various stories it has staged.
Veritas takes form in the examination of social issues and discovering truth behind these issues that shape the play's intellectual core.
Yung pamboto na mo niya, mga competence kami na balakad, di ba?
Caritas is expressed in expressions of love for God, friends and family, others, the country, and the environment. Unitas manifests in both medium and message of the works. All plays are written with a collaboration of writers, members, alumni, faculty, and community partners. Unitas is also experienced during the performance as both the community of artists dialogue with the community of audience members over the performance. Over the years, USA Little Theater performances have engaged various audience members, students, faculty, professionals, alumni, community partners and beneficiaries, government officials, volunteers, among others. Many of the characters of these plays face and overcome their challenges with friends and the community coming together.
This is how Eagle performs! To maintain the quality of the work of the Little Theater, we adhere to our aesthetics. The USALT aesthetics can be expressed into 4 words: matahong, matinlo, maalam, kag may dulot. First is matahong, beautiful. Is the work artistically pleasing? Does it awe me and inspire me even if the issues are ugly and painful? When put together, is it still artistically pleasing?
Clean. Is the performance put together well? Is the performance organized in such a way that all the elements work together in harmony?
Third is maalam, intelligent. It has an intellectual core. It wants to say something important and relevant.
Fourth is may dulot. It affects me. It makes me laugh, it makes me cry, it makes me angry. It moves me to do something. And when all these things come together, you have a USALT production.
The creative journey in writing a play for the USA Little Theater begins with confronting the issues of our time. We look into personal and social issues that affect us. We then storify these issues or write a narrative. We look into the characters of the story and how they interact with each other. We focus on conflict and how it is aggravated and eventually resolved, if it ever gets resolved. We look into the central message or the theme and how it is conveyed through the story. We eventually devise the production through collaborative writing, performance, directing, and designing. Insights are articulated and eventually synthesized in the performance. We preview the play and incorporate the feedback in our drafts, and eventually premiere the production. Many of our plays get rewritten throughout the runs and through the years of relevance and resonance.
When our young people were affected by the issues of mental health, particularly among their fellow youth, we wrote the play #Shocked.
While we were addressing the issue of extrajudicial killings in the country, we collaborated with university students and staged the play Woke.
Mando sa gobyerno!
So many of our plays affected by what society is undergoing and how it affects us and what we want to say about that particular issue. Our plays share the truth we behold and the meaning we find in the process.
Pinasahi nga relief gindalas ang isa ka universidad sa mga biktima ni Bagyo Yolanda sa Lemery.
Gintagaan sang kabuhi sa mga estudyante sa University of San Agustin Little Theater ang istorya sang lugar ginatawag Halabuyan Norte, kung sa pasapayan lang ang paghabuy sang basura.
When confronted by the issue of solid waste management in the campus and communities, and to a larger extent the abuse of our environment, we wrote the play Basura Busters, which we are currently following up with Silina Chera.
Allow us to share our creative process in staging one of our plays, Imagine a Nation, Stories at the Wake of Yolanda.
It was November 8, 2013, when the world's strongest typhoon ever recorded in human history made its landfall in the Philippines. It devastated islands in the Visayas, with a huge loss of lives and property.
My fellow artists in USALT felt that we can do something to share the lessons of tragedy and triumph. That something was the play Imagine a Nation.
We gathered stories from the survivors from news reports, Facebook posts, and personal experiences of survivors of the storm, some of whom were family and friends.
We devised Imagine a Nation. We appropriated the symbol of a house, a bahay kubo, as the nation before and after the storm. It also became a framework for the story and design of the play. We deconstructed the bahay kubo into its different parts: roof, pillars, walls, rope. The storm scattered these parts. The deconstruction of the house was a lingering visual of Yolanda. These parts became a setting for the stories of Imagine a Nation. Devisers were paired to translate these stories into performance. In Balay, or house, a family lives through the storm by sheer will founded on their faith in God. Their experience was juxtaposed with the sorrowful mystery of the Holy Rosary.
In atop a roof, a nurse who dreams to venture her life outside the country was stopped by the storm. On top of a roof, she frantically calls out her mother lost in the storm, while she holds on to her sick father.
In Lubid or Rope, survivors of Yolanda battle it out for relief goods. This satire features a literal tug-of-war between a volunteer and a relief organizer, and a citizen demanding relief goods from a local official.
What I'm trying to say, Kap, is that you just give to us what is rightly for us.
Go for your right, right.
No, wait! I'm saying is, Kap, just let it go!
Just let it go!
Don't put it back anymore!
Just let it go! Take a break and slam the door!
In Halige or Pillar, a child survivor named Therese Hope, a way of saying there is hope, tells her traumatic ordeal of Yolanda while playing Filipino games.
These stories were told in various forms, an adaptation of a prayer in a scene, in monologues breaking the fourth wall, and the use of games to tell an experience, and photographs and testimonies shared by real-life volunteers, and live music from a lone guitar that threads the narrative.
Exactly a year after, we went back to Yolanda's ground zero in the province of Iloilo. In our visit to our university's partner community, we collected stories of rebuilding and resilience. From there, we learned of the culture of Tawilihanay likened to the Filipino bayanihan or working together.
We learned that rebuilding the country is much like devising, working together to put the parts together and rebuilding what was destroyed. And their stories, they were not just about rebuilding houses. They were stories of rebuilding hope.
Imagine a nation closest with the rebuilding of the house, putting together the roof, pillars, walls, rope into a balay or a house. It was a metaphor for reconstructing the nation once imagined. Truly, Yolanda was one of the worst times in the Philippines, but the best time to be a Filipino. An experience we are living again in this pandemic.
Yolanda ka lang. Pilipino kami.
After Yolanda, this group responded with a series of creative works that reflect, reach, and reassure victims after the storm, and articulated voices of tragedy and triumph through theater audiences from Northern Iloilo, Western Visayas, and other places in the Philippines, with stories which reflect, inspire, and empower. From Iloilo City, University of San Agustin Little Theater.
For Imagine a Nation, the USA Little Theater received the 10 Accomplished Youth Organization Award from President Benigno Aquino III in 2014.
USA Little Theater celebrates its 55th year in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. We adopted the theme Outshift for our theater season in the new normal as we continue exploring alternative ways of shifting our stage to the screen. We opened the theater season during lockdown, sharing our Kwentong Quarantine. #Kwentong Quarantine is a series of online performances featuring artworks, poetry film, movement, and music produced in the spirit of creative expression and healing by our very own USALT members, alumni, and collaborators.
The pandemic gave us the opportunity to reimagine theater and adapted some of our previous plays into films with a distinct quarantine aesthetics. Maria Clara, our entry to Tanghal 14, the National Online Theater Festival, became a window into the kept stories of abuse creeping in the households who have long been locked down. Some put brave faces over their social media platforms and suffer in silence.
Tungod kay Maria Clara, nanging Maria Clara dress na ang tawag naton sa Baro kag Saya. Baro kag Saya. Simbolo, 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 simbolo kang tunay nga Pilipina.
Tos ang kalawasan.
Conservative.
Hinhin to the max ang drama sa dress code kay Dutch.
Putos na putos ang tunay na dalagang Pilipina.
Biskan ang ibos? Mahuy-an sa Maria Clara dress.
Tugangan pagid sang abaniko nga aksesoring dalagang Pilipina para maging swak na swak ang drama.
Abaniko comes in handy to hide the sneer, the smirk, or the flirtatious smile of the dalagang Pilipina.
Hindi pwede mapakita ang face ni dalagang Pilipina.
Kung ang dalagang Muslim may abaya,
si dalagang Filipina
may abaniko!
Clara!
Quarantine.
Okay, I'm bored in the house and I'm in the house bored. Bored in the house and I'm in the house bored. Bored in the motherfucking house bored and I'm bored in the motherfucking.
The days of physical distancing have placed a toll on our mental health and got us all shooked. The recent iteration of Shooked, which opened at the start of the new school year, does not only explore the stories of isolation, but also provide examples of how to be mindful, to love ourselves, and be kind to others. For those of you who have connectivity issues, I will give you 10 minutes to fix it, okay? So please find a way to have a stable connection because I do not want my class...
Ma'am? Ma'am?
Ginhawa.
We are all getting better.
I'm getting better.
Salamat.
Because you. Ginhawa. Ginhawa dalon. Breathe. Breathe deeply.
We believe in the power of theater to bring us together despite the social and physical distancing. As we continue to navigate these challenging times, may we see the magic of theater inspiring us to hope, upholding truth, and build community. May we find more reasons to make theater the occasion.